Heidi. I asked her how she wanted to be introduced. She said, I'm a documentation mercenary. And I asked her for more, and she's like, I just can't get past the glowing fingernails. Woo!
They have eyeballs and they glow in the dark. So, I'm a technical writer, and I'm here to talk to you about docs and DevOps, two great tastes that, like chocolate and peanut butter, ought to go together, but don't always. This talk is called Fear of the Bus, and you'll see why in a minute. I know that in operations and DevOps, we are always racing to keep up with development. We're always trying to get things done just in time, and nobody has time to stop and slow down and do documentation properly. It's just not a thing that happens. But keeping it in people's heads is like keeping it in RAM. If anything happens to that person, all of the pointers to the data evaporate instantly, and they're gone forever. Even if it's written down somewhere in your wiki, you're never going to be able to find it. It's vanished. In IT, we have a concept called hit by a bus. And it is a disaster scenario for somebody gets hit by a bus and gets killed, which is a little gruesome. There are better ways to put it. But what happens to you if a senior team member vanishes suddenly? Well, we can ameliorate this by having documentation. You hire someone like me to chase your DevOps team around and make sure that everything gets written down properly. In the real world, no one does this because money. If you are a serious figure skater, your skate coach makes you skate the wrong direction around the rink to build up the strength in your leg because you're used to skating around one direction only. In DevOps, we need to make people skate the wrong direction and build up strength and flexibility. If you've ever done a push-up program, you know that building strength and flexibility sucks and is a lot of work, but it gives you abilities that you never had before. So you need to rotate build duties and you need to rotate other things. Because newsflash, we all work in corporate America and nobody says you're going to have this job next week. I have been walked out of jobs for nothing particular, and you can't tell that you're going to hang on to the one person who knows how to make a build. It may be that you don't. As an end-user documentation person, I care a lot about the horizontal and the vertical and controlling the kerning. It matters to me that all of our topics are action-oriented. I do not give a fig about that as a DevOps writer. I want you to just write it down. Just put it there somewhere in ugly plain text in Markdown, which I have a huge rant about. But I want you to make sure it gets written down because otherwise disaster. So how do you do that? Balsamiq is my favorite design tool because it looks really sketchy. You can make it look really ratty. And it turns out that people are psychologically much more interested in changing something unfinished than finished. So what I want you to do is create one big messy page to put all of your documentation for DevOps in. Just put it in the top and push it down toward the bottom like a big scroll. But since this is the future, we have search, and you can look up whatever is on that page, and everybody has one bookmark, which is important because I have seen a lot of wikis. And I tell you, we are practicing security by obscurity in our own organizations. We cannot find things. I read about a team that's doing a unique emoji for every time somebody says, hey, we should put that in the build book. You just put an emoji next to it, and then you can search through your Slack history, find all the emoji stuff, and shove it in the build book. That works great because it's where people already are. If you want them to document something, you need to put it right in their path and make it harder to avoid documenting it and go around than it is to actually document it, because nobody likes doing documentation, except me. How do you know if it worked? You invoke the chaos monkey. The chaos monkey demands that one member of your team hand over their work phone, log out of all their systems, and go somewhere with no cell reception. Or you don't call them. But they need to be completely inaccessible. Something will fail. You won't be able to build, something will go wrong, it will be a disaster. That's okay, because this is a drill. You now know what you didn't know that you didn't know. So, you want to drill because, just like fire drills, you want to do it when you're not panicked. Because if you don't know where Maria keeps the build files on drill day, you're not going to know where she keeps them when she's a little bit busy doing something else in the hospital. And I swear to you, if you call anybody who is in the hospital to find out how to do a build, I will come after you. So, DevOps and docs keep you from having to post the equivalent of the Hindenburg picture on your uptime stats. because you have documented it and written down something in a messy, ugly way, I'm giving a much longer talk on Thursday on what you are doing wrong and how you build your software. Come see me then.